Hi guys, in this video, we're gonna go over number 1 in your chapter 15 homework. So measuring employment, unemployment, and labor force participation. Now, the first thing to remember is what is unemployment. So there's 3 criteria to be called unemployed. So first, you must be over age 16. Second, you must be not working. And then third, you must be actively looking for jobs. Now, if you don't qualify for any of those 3 categories, you are not unemployed. Okay, so remember, unemployed doesn't just mean not working. It also means that you must be actively looking for work, and you must be over age 16 to be considered as in the labor force, which is part of unemployment. All right, so let's look at our first one. So we're going to decide of these people here, which one is unemployed, which one is not unemployed, or labor force and then employed. Okay, so first, Carlos is a 70 years old professor. He teaches only 1 or 2 courses a year, but he's still pursuing active research agenda. So he is working, because that doesn't matter how many classes he's teaching. So even though somebody might be doing a part-time job, that is still called employed. Okay, so for employed, it doesn't matter if you're full-time or part-time, you are employed. Now, second, Deborah is a 27-year-old recent college graduate. She did not work for past week, but she had 2 job interviews. So the key word here is that she didn't work, and also she had job interviews. So she is actively looking for work, which means that she is called unemployed. Next, Felix is a 42-year-old accountant who has been out of work for almost a year. He became so discouraged, he gave up his job search a couple months ago. All right, so keyword here is that he gave up his job search and also discouraged. Now, in your textbook, there's one term called discouraged worker. So discouraged worker, they're anybody who is not working and gave up looking for a job. So the moment they stop looking for a job, they're no longer unemployed. They are now called not in the labor force. Okay, so not in the labor force. And the next one, Megan is 29-year-old who lost her job as a associate producer at a radio station after spending a few weeks out of work and interviewed for several other positions. She gave up her job search and decided to go back to school. She made a decision a few months ago. So again, she gave up looking for work. So she's back to school. Therefore, she is no longer in the labor force. Now, to be in the labor force, you must be either employed or unemployed. That the moment you stop looking for work and you're not working at all, then you are no longer in the labor force. Okay. Next one, Larry is a famous novelist. He's spending his summer at a lake house in upstate New York, doing a little writing each day, but mostly spending his time gardening and reading. So he is doing a little work every day, right? So even though this guy is self-employed, but he's still working right now. That is called employed. And next one, Janet is a 10-year-old student and we can just stop right here. 10-year-old, you are not even an adult, so this is the answer, not in the adult population. Okay, all right, so let's look at our next section. So it's asking what is the labor force participation rate. So labor force participation rate, this is your labor force over your adult population times 100. So number in the labor force divided by adult population times 100 looks like this is our answer. All right, to find labor force, that's your employed plus unemployed. So for the people we have on top, the adult population will be the 5 people except Jeanette. So everybody, the first 5 people, they're all adult population. And then the labor force will be Carlos, employed, that's labor force. Deborah, unemployed, labor force, and Larry, employed, labor force. So there should be 3 out of 5 people. So 3 over 5 times 100. I think it's 60%, but just making sure. 3 divided by 5 times 100. All right, so this is 60%. Okay, so our answer should be 60%. All right, and then next, what is the unemployment? Unemployment rate is your unemployed divided by labor force. So unemployed divided by labor force. First one. All right, so our unemployed, we have 1 person who is unemployed, and our labor force is actually only 3 people, we mentioned before. So Carlos, Deborah,
and then Larry there, the labor force. So there'll be 1 out of 3 people. There should be a simple 33.33%. All right, so let's check our work. Good now. Okay, we got everything right. So guys, that's how you do number 1 in your chapter 15 homework, and I will see you for the rest of the chapter. Okay, all right, see you later. Bye bye.